Oh, Larry Levine and Daryl Amy coming to you today. Larry, we're recording this during the 2021 Trust Building Challenge. And I am so fired up about what we've been discovering this week. The coaches that we've had in these sessions have been incredible. And I think as much as, I believed as we were going into this, that trust is the number one issue. It is the X factor. It's the game changer in moving sales forward. After spending time with these coaches like Marcus Ogden, Don Pardon, Dave Sanderson, we got Maria Church, all these folks, don't have to recite them all. After spending time with them, I'm more convinced than ever that the game changer right now for all of us is building trust. And, we all say we want to be a trusted advisor.
Yep.
There's no salesperson in the history of sales that hasn't uttered those two words at some point. The question is, how are we going to do that? And how are we going to up from being, as Dave Sanderson coached us, from being excellent to being outstanding?
Yeah. And it's, we all know this, Daryl. And I go back to, you shared the little story about you chopping wood and then you had to burn some of it. You threw,
Right.
an accelerator on there. Well, listen, the accelerator in sales in a post-trust world is trust. How do
It
you
is.
build that? And that's what
It's the
we're going to work
accelerant.
on together. That's the accelerant. You want to drive more sales, build deeper relationships? Trust is the accelerant.
Well, and this is what we've been talking about in the challenges we all face. I mean, these aren't new challenges in sales, although I think it could be argued that some of these challenges are more challenging than ever in today's marketplace. And you add on top of that the reality that not only is there margin pressure, we're also having to go out. We're having to ask for price increases in many industries. Deals are stuck in the pipeline. The frustrating thing about getting ghosted
Yeah.
in the middle of deals, all of these things, you look at every single problem that we face in sales, and I believe that you can tie it back to trust in some areas. In other words, more trust, more sales, more trust, less of the problem.
Yeah, and it goes back. I just love the quote. It's the quote that we used on the day Marcus Ogden was here with Stephen M.R. Covey. I just
Mhm.
love that quote. I mean, and I know you know it like the back of your hand, Daryl.
Well, this is, yeah, I mean, business at the speed of trust, right? If you want to speed things up, you need more trust. If you want to get through more doors faster, you need more trust. If you want pipeline velocity, you need more trust. If you want upsells, cross sells, and more referrals from your clients, you need more trust. And so this is where the intensive is born out of. We started looking at this and going, okay, what can we do to help our friends improve in trust? What can we do to coach? These are things that we've been coaching on for years, but in 2022, we've repackaged and we've upped the game in terms of what we're going to be able to deliver to help you build trust. And the participants in the trust intensive that's kicking off this fall are going to be the first recipients of this new material and the first to benefit from it. And it's all based around this formula that we've been talking about through the Trust Challenge. How do we build authentic relationships and meaningful value? And Larry, how do we multiply that times?
Inspirational experiences, and this is near and dear to both Daryl and I. I mean, the
Mhm.
whole equation is just it's our vision as we sat down over the summer to really strategize on where does selling from the heart go.
Mhm.
What can we do? And it all boiled down to, you remember that, Daryl, when we sat there and said, what's the vision of selling from the heart? But what is it that we help sales leaders and their sales teams do the best? And it all came back to building trust.
We talk about authenticity and we talk about heart, and how you would talk, and you talk in selling from the heart about how my authentic self, how your authentic self sells you. What's the byproduct of that though? And what are we actually aiming at with authenticity and heart and all of these genuine and all of that? We're aiming at trust. And trust is so critical because it is it's the oil, it's the diesel fuel, it's what we need right now in what many have called a post-trust environment. So this is what we're going to do in the intensive. We're going to dive deep in these four areas along the trust formula. We're authentic relationships. Larry, we're going to take deep dive in how to develop and nurture a powerful network that can open doors to help you establish trust. And the speed to heart thing is really, really critical, because we walk in and there's not a lot of trust for sales
No.
professionals. We all know that. There's no secret. I think it's worse than ever. We've got to get speed to heart. We're going to share practical strategies to make that happen.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer. We talk about it a lot. We talk about it on the Selling from the Heart podcast and in the book. Your network's your net worth. We just have to build genuine, authentic relationships, high, wide, and deep inside organizations.
That's right. That's right. And then meaningful value. And this is something that is really critical. And I'm going to just, everybody knows that I have a sales hat and I have a marketing hat, right? I'm going to put my marketing hat on. And over the last 28 years now, I started straight in high competitive sales, same industry that Larry did. It was dog eat dog. I was coached, we all read Tom Hopkins and learned how to do that, but also had a marketing degree. And I've been involved in marketing for 18 of those years. And here's what I've noticed, marketing sends us all kinds of shiny brochures, 80-page slide decks, all kinds of stuff. And here's the deal. There's probably like 5% of that that's meaningful to any person, right? So what we want to coach you to do, and we've coached sales professionals how to do this, is how to determine what's meaningful to that particular buyer. And for those of you in B2B, and we all know that we're not just selling to one person now, we're selling to a team of people. How do we discover what's important to each buyer on the team and avoid just throwing a bunch of marketing crap and buzzwords at them, but to actually establish meaningful value early in the conversation and sustain that conversation about how we're delivering meaningful value throughout the sales process and throughout their journey of being a client in business reviews and different things like that. And this is the glue. This is the other side of the trust coin. We've been saying, if you got great relationships, and I know everybody in the Selling from the Heart community has great relationships, we need to build more, we need to go deeper. If you got great relationships with no value, you just got a bunch of friendships. Flip it over. You got great value, no relationships, you're broke, right? You got no one signing orders. So this is where, when we go back to what we're going to do in the intensive, is we're going to work in meaningful value. How do we determine that? How do we communicate that? And how do we sustain and prove that meaningful value throughout the relationship?
And I think, to go along with this and the inspirational experience, we talked about trust as the accelerant. Well, if you take authentic relationships and you add in meaningful value, the accelerant, the ongoing accelerant on this, Daryl, is the inspirational experience that each and every sales professional brings to their clients.
This is how you stand out. You'll remember Dave Sanderson said in his session, we need to move from being good and excellent to being outstanding. That's the top 1% that Don Barden talks about and shared with us this week. How are you outstanding? Yes, it's in your relationships. Yes, it's in your value. But the X factor here, and this is the multiplier, is what we call the IE, the inspirational experience. And I remember at the beginning of 2020, when I walked into a hotel lobby, and there's a guy standing there in a yellow tuxedo. And I'm like, what in the world is that about?
That was Jesse Cole. I remember that man in the yellow tux. Yeah.
And that's when the light bulbs came on. It was later that spring that I got introduced into the experience economy. When I was talking to a friend of mine, John Langford, who had worked at the Disney Institute teaching people how to deliver an incredible experience. Since then, I've met Joey Coleman. We've met so many different people who are experts in helping create an amazing experience. So here's the deal. And by the way, going back through this, all the participants in the program, we're going to use a tool. We're going to help you build a relationship map. We're going to help you build a value map. We're also going to help you build an experience map where you intentionally craft experiences for your prospects and clients. And this is the multiplier, right?
It's the X factor. Daryl, it's the X factor.
And you stand out. And there are ways to do this strategically that are really, really powerful. And what's the difference between first place and second place in that stack of proposals? You're not the only option out there. What's the difference? It's trust. And one of the main ways that we establish trust is by creating that experience for folks. And we're going to have this is going to be a lot of fun in that aspect of it. And then the last part is, It doesn't sound like so much fun, but this is critical, Larry. We got to have disciplined habits, integrating a regular cadence of trust building activities into our schedules.
And all of this, what excites me, this is what professionals do.
Yep.
Is it hard work? Yes.
Yeah.
But this is the payoff. You want to double your sales in 2022? This is what it's going to take.
And that's what we're aiming for here. This isn't, if you're obviously watching this video because you're considering being a part of the intensive. This is not a. This is if you're a someone that just wants to make the same amount of money you made last year, and do the same thing you did last year.
This may not be for you.
You're not going to enjoy it. We're going to push you too hard. You just go back but if you want to grow your income, and I'm saying, if you want to double your sales, if you think about it, you go, can I really double my sales? Let's go back to that. Think about that slide of all the different problems we have, right? Imagine if you could increase each one of those areas by a factor, whatever factor, better prospecting, better pipeline, better client management,
Yep.
upsell and cross-sell and referrals, all of those things, add all those up, and we're going to see people double their sales. This isn't rocket science on one level, but it is scientific in the way that, well, we have a mathematical formula, but it's also scientific. How about that, Larry?
That's a big collegiate mathematical equation, huh, Daryl?
But it is scientific from the angle of these are the things that work, but they need to. It's one thing to know them. It's one thing to have them on the shelf. It's another thing to incorporate them into daily habits, weekly habits, and that's going to be a part of this, establishing the habits that are going to propel your sales results to the next level. And that's why I'm so excited about the cohort of 12 people that are going to be in this group. We're going to see some incredible results. There's going to be some phenomenal success stories out of it. So here's how it's going to work. You're like, how are we going to do this? Well, I found that if you do something once, you get something out of it. If you go back through it twice, you get more. And if a third swipe through is where it really accelerates. I mean, we're going to do it 3 times? Not exactly. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to apply the trust formula to the 3 phases of every sales process: client management, prospecting, and selling. So as we go through, we're going to apply trust building to client management. We're going to apply it to prospecting. And then in the third section, we're going to apply it to selling. We're going to focus on each one of these for 90 days. We'll explain more about that here in a moment. But Larry, why in the world did you put client management at the top of the list? Why are we doing client management first? Shouldn't we do prospecting first?
Well, so here's what's interesting. We all know if you sit down and we bring a group of sales leaders to the forefront, we sit around a table and we start talking about issues and challenges, it's always going to revolve around prospecting, net new business growth, things like that in its simplest format, Daryl. But we're a believer here that the key, and let's just focus in on this for a moment, that the key to your business growth, the key to new business growth comes directly through how well you build, grow, and nurture your client relationships. That's the key to new business, is who do they know? It's who sits inside their networks. Bingo. So we're asking you to double down on your client retention and the relationships. That's the fuel to your business growth. We all know we have to get new business growth, but I don't want us to sacrifice clients to go grab new logos.
But this is actually the secret, right? And this is everyone wants to start sales training with prospecting. We got to prospect. I hope you're doing it. I hope it's blocked off on your calendar. If not, you need to start doing that right away. And the best prospects come from your client base. Your client base are 1 degree of separation from your best new clients. Your relationships that you have there, build trust correctly. And not only do you get referrals when you ask for them, you get referrals when you don't ask for them. And those are the best kind, right? And so we're going to take a deep dive into establishing, deepening that authentic relationship, the meaningful value, the experience. What's it like to be one of your clients? Good question, right? Do they just see every so often when you launch a new product or it's end of the year, and do they see an invoice from your company? Is that the experience? Or what's the experience? What's it like to work with Larry? What's it like to work with you? And so we're going to integrate the discipline habits of that. And then from there, with that in place, we're then going to go back and we're going to apply the trust formula to prospecting, how to integrate trust into prospecting in new ways that open up doors that were previously impossible to get through. I think every sales professional has some accounts that, there may be target accounts, dream accounts, or whales, or whatever. You've been wanting to get in those doors, and I remember I had one in my first sales job. It was up on a hill. It was the largest healthcare system in the city where I live. And I drive by that thing on the way to work every morning, and I get angry because I couldn't get in. And I drive by it every time I left the office to go on an appointment. I'd see this target account, and I'll share. It was meaningful value and authentic relationships that got me in there to land that and be sales rep of the year in the company where I was at. But these principles are true. And you're listening in, you've got target accounts you can't get through the door. Our goal is to get in the door of those accounts, and we're going to learn new prospecting methodologies to do that.
Yeah, and this is I just need to layer on top of what you just said, and that's just key on this, because this is why we start with authentic client management. If you build and nurture and grow those relationships and those networks, when it comes to authentic prospecting, we're going to layer in something that's near and dear to me, and that's relational prospecting. What's really interesting is to see the light come on with salespeople when they've been working on targeted accounts for so long, and they haven't been able to get into the door until they lean into the relationships they've been building with their clients and uncover who sits inside their network, Daryl.
Well, I love watching the lights come on. And, when we get to coach, and we coach individuals, you need to know as well, the core of what we do is we coach sales teams and some of the highest performance, best, incredible companies out there. It's really astounding. But even, and if you're listening in and you're a sales leader, you're a sales enablement person, we want to talk to you about this as well. We want to talk about all of these concepts because trust is so critical. We train on product, we train on sales skills. Those are important, but there's this X factor. Sometimes they call it the soft skills. I don't like that because I believe soft skills yield hard dollars, right? And trust is a big part of that.
I was just waiting for you to drop that, Daryl.
That's my favorite line now.
That's such a great quote.
But this is true. And so that's the thing. And I want everybody to know, we're talking about trust. We're talking about authenticity. And those are nice. Those can be nice, snuggly, warm, fuzzy terms. But we're also talking about growing your income because that's the outcome we're after. And let me just say this before we get to the third part of this. This isn't only about income. I believe income follows value. And the more trust we build, the more value we add, the more income you're going to get. You're going to grow your income when you get engaged in this program and get involved in building trust on these 4 levels of the trust formula. However, I don't think you're just going to grow your income. You're going to grow your fulfillment. And Larry, I know that there are a lot of tenured sales professionals out there, because I've been one, that are burned out, bored, sick of their job. And this, I believe, is the way. If you're someone that's stuck like that, this is the way to get out of it.
I fully agree. I've talked to enough tenured, high-performing enterprise salespeople that have been chasing the dollar. And what's happened is they forgot to chase what's inside of them. And what's really interesting is once they start chasing what was inside of them, guess what started to happen? Sales started to increase. Actually, their income started to increase, but it was when they flipped the focus. They went internal instead of external.
So that's going to be woven through all of this. And if you're burned out, bored, like I can't do this again, maybe instead of hitting Indeed and starting in another company with the same methodology, maybe you need to change your company or your methodology, right? And your mindset. And I know the intensive is going to do that for you, because the third part of this, we'll start with the first 90 days, authentic client management, the second 90 days, authentic prospecting, the third 90 days are on authentic selling. And how many people have stuff stuck in their pipelines? I mean, this is epidemic, right?
All the time.
Clogged pipelines, or even worse, the ones that, when are you going to close that? I don't know, and then finally you just throw stuff out of the pipeline. Well, we got to end that problem. We got to unclog the pipeline. And that comes by building trust with the buying committee, the team. And our friend Brent Adamson, it was, I loved it earlier on in the beginning of the pandemic. I was on a podcast. It was a live stream actually, and I quoted Brent Adamson, who said in the Challenger customer that there are 6.7 decision makers involved. That was from 2008. And I was quoting him. And it was so fun because he actually chimed in on the live podcast. I didn't know he was listening. But he said, yeah, now it's actually closer to 11 or 12. Whatever that number is, it's not one person. You've got to build trust quickly with multiple people in the buying committee. Larry, I've watched you do this, and I've watched you do it virtually many, many times. And what you're going to coach us on is going to be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and I think this is why it's important. Let's key in on that number. Daryl said, regardless if the number's 6 or the number's 10 or the number's 11 or 12, we can all agree there's multiple people in a buying decision. Here's the issue: they all have different perspectives, and that's 6 to 12, whatever that number is, opportunities for them to tell you no.
That's right.
So that's just think about,
to tell you yes, right?
Well,
and this is where getting aligned is
yeah.
so powerful. And this is where we get pipeline velocity. I know that's a great, sales enablement term. We need more pipeline velocity. I would say absolutely we do. How do we get it? We get it by building trust with the members of the buying team. And we want to avoid those uncomfortable experiences of showing up at the final meeting and someone walking in the room and go, who's that person, right? And so everything we're talking about with authentic relationships, meaningful value, inspirational experience, and disciplined habits are going to lean towards that. In all of this, though, we want to make sure you execute. So one of the things we're throwing in and including as a bonus inside the intensive is our authentic action planning system. And this is going to be so powerful. This right here actually probably moved the needle for many of the participants, Larry. It's going to move the needle and more than pay for the session itself. Just the habits of establishing a quarterly vision, weekly planning, and daily action items, all in an authentic selling planner, where you actually, we got a bunch of stuff on our computer screens, but you actually put your hands on it. It's actually in front of you.
I will tell you,
day out, right, Larry?
I will tell you, it works. There's something to be said about pen to paper as opposed to fingertips on a keyboard.
Yep, I'm not saying don't kill your calendar. You need your Outlook, Google Calendar, and whatever calendar you've got. But we got to get intentional in incorporating this into our life. Larry, this is going to be so exciting. Here's how it's going to work.
When do we get started on this, Daryl?
We're going to get started this fall, right? And so we're working on the final dates. They'll be on the webpage. And so we want you to get started in this. And here's how it's going to work. This is going to be very accessible, very accessible. There'll be weekly live sessions. So every week we'll have a live session. And you'll be there with other people. It's not going to be a PowerPoint data dump or anything like that. We're actually going to coach you on each aspect of the trust formula applied to everything that we're talking about, whether it's authentic client management, authentic prospecting, or authentic selling. And then, Larry, and this is what I absolutely love. This isn't just one of those things you get engaged in and, once a week you go to a meeting. You actually get engaged in a mastermind community of the other participants who are going down the road on this together and really working hard. And we're looking for the type of people in this program who are going to engage.
Yeah, and this is the whole magic behind this. Is we're a firm believer that community matters. We're building, we always said we're building a movement, Daryl, around authenticity, heart, and integrity in the sales profession. Inside of this is community. And what's really been interesting is as we're coaching sales leaders and their sales teams, we're already doing this in private social networks. To see the responses and to see how people have just latched onto this, it's just been simply amazing.
Absolutely. So all of this, what's the net gain of all of this? As we've been saying, the result of all of this: more sales, more income, more fulfillment. That's what we're aiming at. We want you to sell more. I want you to make more money than you've ever made before. I want 2022 to be the best year you've ever had. Like we want, this This isn't, and I want you to feel fulfilled. So I want you to feel good inside. I want you to hold up your W-2 at the end of the year and go, whoa. And if you engage, the goal of engaging this program, can I bottom line it, Larry?
Bottom line it.
We're going to create tax problems. We want to create some tax problems. We say that because we know that the W-2, the income of whatever that is in the country you're listening from, and we'll have people in this from around the world, by the way, which is going to be cool as well. But the income that you make is an indication. I think it's your trust meter. I mean, bottom line.
Totally agree.
Where you are on the sales board and you want to know how you're doing in trust, look at your results. And well, as we say at Selling from the Heart, more trust, more sales. We want to invite you. If this is resonating with you, we want to invite you to be a part of this. This isn't for everybody. Some of you may be going, trust? Pff, I don't need more trust. I'm good. Well, this isn't for you. Good, you're
then
good
I trust.
to go.
Hey, Daryl, then I trust you're doing okay, and
I trust you're doing okay. But if you look at this and you've been a part of the 2021 Trust Building Challenge, and you go, wow, that stuff was really good. Here's our challenge to you. Don't just leave it. Don't just leave it back there. Let's get it integrated into who we are, what we do. You may say, Daryl, I'm already a high performance sales rep. And I would say that's exactly why you need a coach. There's no such thing as a high performance athlete that doesn't have somebody or more than one somebody looking in on what they're doing and helping them hone their craft. It's that little change here, that little change in your golf swing or your batting stance that makes the difference between being average and being outstanding. And so we want to invite you to be a part of it. Larry, I'm so excited about this. I'm looking forward to it. I've not been excited about something like this in a long time. This is going to be incredible.
This is what's so good about you. This is why I love you, Daryl. Every time we get together and we cast vision, and we're a big believer. You hang out with us, we're a big believer that leaders cast vision. Well, sales professionals and sales leaders cast vision. This was a vision Daryl and I had this past summer on where did we really want to take Selling from the Heart? What's it look like in the next couple of years? Well, you're getting an up close and personal view into what we're doing over the next couple of years.
Yeah. So if you want to be a part of it, we encourage you to join us on the journey. We want to remove the risk. You can get off the bus whenever you want. There's a monthly amount to be a part of this. And when you get in and you say, I think when you get in, you're going to be like, I want to do this for the rest of my sales career. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to do 3 90 days sessions. So this is going to carry you through much of 2022. But at the same time, if you're going, I don't know if I can commit to that, it's okay. Get on board, get started. That first module is going to be on authentic client management. And I think that right there is a game changer. So get enrolled. The monthly amount, once again, it's guaranteed. Your satisfaction's guaranteed. If you're not happy with it, you can leave whenever you want. And if you're not happy with it at all, which I highly doubt,
that's not going to happen.
Your money back. You know who we are. Our heart is to help you drive success, and our heart is for you to get a 10, 100x return on whatever you put into this in terms of money and time. And we'll be honored to be your coaches. So, Larry, I'm so excited about this, and for whoever's watching right now, we can't wait to see you in the inside the intensive. The trust building intensive is going to be incredible.
Yeah, again, I'm blessed. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for stepping up and saying, I want to be a part of what Selling from the Heart is building out there. It's all about bringing authenticity, integrity, and business substance to the forefront.
All right. Well, this has been fun, Larry. We'll see you in the intensive.